Hey everyone, welcome back to Clover Knows Pets. I'm Clover, and today I'm going to be giving you the full story of Benny the cockateil. If you don't know about Benny, please go check out the other videos on my channel. I have been saying I have been wanting to make this video for a while, so yeah, I'm excited to actually make it today. But this is going to be a very long video and possibly very confusing video, so yeah. Anyways, let's get started. So Benny right here is a cockatiel, obviously, and we are actually lucky enough to know his full story from the day he was born 8 years ago. Now, multiple birds are going to be in this story, and this is a real story. Along with that, it is not a happy story, so you have to be aware of that. This video... Benny, can you please stop, bud? Anyways, this video is going to be talking about a lot of animal abuse, both intentional and unintentional. He's gonna fly, isn't he? It's okay. It's okay. I am also going to be talking about the death of a few animals in this story, and this story is real, and I am not going to sugarcoat it. His life has been absolutely horrible. I am very happy to be able to have him now, so that I can help him the best I can and give him the best life possible. But in the past, he's not had this help, and so his story is quite sad. Anyways, now that I've got that done, let's get started. Now, 11 or 10 years ago, a lady went to a pet store and got 2 cockatiels. She was told these cockatiels were both female, and she was also told to get them soft materials such as fleece and cozy huts and hidey huts, and so after doing so, she brought them home. Now the problem with this is, not only are these sort of materials not safe for any birds, but on top of that, they were not 2 female cockatiels, but in fact a male and a female, and seeing that they were being given so much nesting material, they eventually started breeding, and this lady did not know what to do. I don't know how this next bit happened, but eventually she somehow came to the conclusion that the best option was to put the parents of the babies and the babies themselves into a cabinet. I'm not joking, a literal cabinet. And that is where these parents raised their babies. They were kept in complete darkness, day and night, and they were eating a diet of breadcrumbs and drinking from a hamster water bottle. They all lived like this for the next 4 to 5 years, except for one bird. That one bird was Benny, who you saw before. You see, what happened with Benny is he was being picked on and injured a lot in that situation for very good reasons. I mean, I can't imagine them having to live like that. But yeah, somehow the lady thought it would be a good idea to take him out of that situation and leave the others. And so after being kept in that cabinet situation for 3 years, Benny was taken out of there and given away for free on Craigslist. Then the people who got them, or got him, just happened to be our neighbors. Now, these people did truly try their best. I'm going to start with that. They just simply did not have the knowledge or the funding or, frankly, the commitment to care for a bird with this much trauma and stress and just a bird in general, honestly. But, of course, at the time, they did not know this. They took instructions from the lady and got him a small cage with some bird seed, plastic bowls, a plastic toy, and a dowel perch. Benny then lived like this for another year, and then they needed to go somewhere. I'm not going to state where they were going, but it was basically just a vacation somewhere, and obviously they needed someone to watch their bird. That person ended up being me. Now, after getting Benny's cage and getting some pictures of Benny, I automatically knew that these guys, unfortunately, did not know what they were doing with birds. But at this point, I still had no idea the situation he had come from. And so, basically what happened is we took him in temporarily. This was originally to babysit him, basically, while this family was on vacation somewhere. And yes, I did mention they did not have the funding to care for the bird. This vacation was to see a dying family member. So, yeah. Anyways, after I got him, I immediately redid his cage and worked on taming him. Now, this was quite a process because I knew nothing about his previous situation at the time, and I did not know where he came from, and I frankly was not very experienced with birds. At the time, my only bird was Solar, my budgie, and then Eclipse, a budgie that we got when we were actually watching Benny. And so I had only had birds for about 2 years at that point, and so I was not very experienced with training. But nonetheless, I was able to hand tame him and get him quite used to me. This was especially good because the owners had said that he was untamable. Yeah. After he was supposed to go back, I made sure to redo his cage and throw away all of the bad supplies. I bought them new supplies that was appropriate for a bird, or at least as good as I could do for the time being with such a small cage. And I sent them home with some care sheets and talked to them about proper bird care and how to care for him better. They brought him home, and I basically started bringing them over frozen chop, which is chopped up fresh veggies that have been frozen and chopped up for birds. And that lasted for a few months, and that was it. I did not hear anything about him for another 2 years when they messaged me saying that the people they had gotten Benny from were looking to get rid of the rest of their cockatiels. Now, the lady that Benny was from is the person that was keeping all of these birds in a cabinet, and they were still in this situation when we found out they were looking to be rehomed. And thinking back on that, I really wish that we had gone and rescued all of those birds right away. But at that time, I was not a very experienced bird owner, and I also had no idea where they were coming from. But yeah, we had seen how well Benny did with us and figured, okay, if we're getting a bird that was rehomed, meaning we're not buying a bird, it's okay to go get one. Now, I know that might sound very ignorant. Keep in mind, I already had, at this point, 3 years of experience with parrots and had tried out having a cockatiel for about 3 months when we were babysitting Benny. I also had an extra cage, flight cage, and a bunch of extra supplies. So, yeah. Basically, the bird that we ended up getting is named Fern. And what happened is we arrived and everything seemed normal. I know this is not a very good way of judging people, but their house was normal seeming. I mean, even inside, everything looked super fancy and clean. And I guess my point is, I'm fairly positive that if this lady had tried, she could easily have bought in cages for these birds and at least kept them in that. I honestly do not know what was going through this lady's head, but yeah. We basically went there and found out about this situation, and at the time, I think we being me and my mom who went, were just sort of stunned by what was happening in front of us, enough that we didn't think it through too much. But I do very much regret not getting those other cockatiels. But yeah, basically we came home with one cockatiel named Fern, like I said. And yeah, Fern lived with us for a 1.5 years without any problems whatsoever. I was able to convert her to a good diet. I got her introduced to the other birds. She had her vet checked. She was an amazing bird. She is by far the best bird that I've ever had in terms of just the fact that she was so sweet. She was a truly amazing animal. And I can't even believe the fact that she was able to forgive humans after all of that. But yeah, she was my buddy for the next 1.5 years. She went everywhere around the house with me. She went outside in a carrier. And she was harness trained, so she got to go to the pet stores. And she is in a lot of my videos, actually, here on my channel. Fern was the first non-budgie I've ever owned. Not that that really means anything, but figured I might as well mention. And I was looking forward to having her for a very long time. Unfortunately, that did not happen. She escaped outside in the middle of winter I live in Minnesota. It was the night of a big blizzard and a record amount of snowfall. She's not been seen since. That was about 7 months ago, and I still actually struggle to look at pictures of her and to be around cockatiels, and I was not planning on ever getting another cockatiel. Obviously, that situation has changed. Basically what happened is the home that Benny was in during this whole time messaged us about 2 weeks ago from me making this video now, asking if we wanted Benny and saying that they were going to return him to the previous home otherwise. Keep in mind that these owners did not know what they were doing. They did not know where Benny was being kept and how he was being kept in this previous home. Like I said, he had been separated by the lady, so they did not know that that is where they would be bringing him. So don't blame them, but yeah. And although we did try and tell them what this lady was doing, and they did reconsider, they were still going to put him up for free on Craigslist to whoever wanted him. So yeah, that is how we ended up with him, because me specifically, I was not going to let this bird live the rest of his life in a situation like he would end up being put on Craigslist. If you don't know, most of the birds, or basically animals in general, that are for free on things like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, even though it's against the rules, it still happens. Most of these animals end up living their lives either in very small cages or becoming snake food. By the way, I'm not against snakes. I have my own snakes, just that's not the way you do things. Anyways, or actually, unfortunately, something that's been happening a lot right now is people getting animals for free off of Craigslist, injuring them, and then videoing them being rescued and getting views for it. So yeah, thanks for watching. After getting him, I have been posting updates on everything going on. So if you haven't seen those updates, please go check out my channel, and if you want more updates, please subscribe and like this video. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.